Hi, boys and girls. We're here for another story. Our story today is called Beware, Dangerous Bull. Well, Dell, he was kind of pacing back and forth in his house. He had tried reading a book. He had tried several things, but he was just bored. I mean, it was a beautiful day outside, but what fun was it to go do something all by yourself? His best friend, he lived across the road from Dale's farm, and he was always good for a game of basketball or to go with him for hikes through the woods. But today, he was gone for the weekend, and Dale, he didn't know what to do. You know what it's like when you want something to do, and all the wonderful things you have to do don't seem fun. Well, Mom, she looked at him and said, "Hey, why don't you play that new game that Uncle Bob brought when he was here yesterday? I'll go get it for you." And Dell said, "No, Mom, I don't think so. I don't want to play that game right now. I think I'll go over to Harry's house." Well, Mother, she got kind of a strange look on her face, and she had been sewing away. Suddenly, she put her sewing down and she stood up. And Dell knew that it wasn't that she didn't like Harry. She didn't like the things that Harry did. And Harry had a whole bunch of friends from town, and they were much older than Harry or Dell. And they were always getting themselves into trouble. They were doing things that they shouldn't be doing at their age. They'd been known to try to smoke cigarettes. They would make up what they considered to be pranks that always ended up hurting somebody. Their idea of fun wasn't what Mom wanted her son to be doing, but she felt that he was getting old enough. He needed to make some decisions on his own. She said, "I don't like you to go over there, but be careful." Mom had told him before, "You should pray to God about the associates the friends that you have, and He'll make you decide whether they're good friends to be around or not." Well, Dale, he thought, God has so much to do. Why would He care about who I run around with? So he told his mother goodbye, and as he started out the door, his mother said, "Dale, be careful, please." And Dale said, "Okay, Mom." And as he went out the door, he thought, their father had been killed in a car accident last year. Ever since then, Mom had been kind of afraid of when he went places. Thought, well, I'm fine. So he started down the road. I mean, it was a perfect day in the country. There was a little breeze. It was warm. The sun was shining. You could hear the birds singing. And Dale started whistling a song that he'd heard Harry sing once. So he just made his way down that country road, and pretty soon he went under the great big aluminum archway that went over the entrance to Harry's parents' farm. Well, he got partway down that road. He was heading toward the house, but then he heard Harry call, "Hey, Dale, come over here and see what we've got. It's a beauty." So Dale turned toward the corrals. He walked past the barn, and he thought to himself, well, maybe they got a new milking machine or something. He didn't know what it was. But as he got closer to the corrals, there was Harry with a whole bunch of his friends. And Harry turned to Dale and he said, "Look at him. Isn't he huge? Isn't he great?" And there, inside of that corral, was a purebred Holstein bull. Now, Holsteins, you know what a Holstein cow looks like. It's black and white. Well, a Holstein bull was black and white as well, only he was magnificently big. And boys like things that are big. And until he looked at that bull and he thought, he is awful big. And then John, one of the other boys, came up. He said, you should have seen him before you got here. He was taking his hooves and he was digging in the dirt, and he put his head down with his horns sticking out at us. And he was snorting through his nose. You should have seen him, Dale. And Harry, he said, they were pretty close to that fence. Don't you think we should back up a little bit and get away from him? And they said, ugh. Harry, he got a hold of the edge of the fence. He said, it's really sturdy. The bull Dad had in here last year was much bigger and much meaner. Well, Dale, he really wanted to back up and get away from that bull. But he didn't want the other guys to think he was just a little kid that was afraid. Dale was about 12, and a lot of those other boys were quite a bit older than he was. Well, Harry said, come over here, Dale. Let's you and I sit up on top of the rail of the fence. Then you can really see that guy. And Dale thought, I don't think I need to be any closer. But here again, he didn't want the boys to think he was afraid. So he climbed up the side of that fence and he perched himself up on the top rail. And Harry climbed up right beside him. And Harry said, isn't he great? Then he turned around on the rail and John was standing over there. And he said, okay, John, hit it. Well, John took out a big, bright red handkerchief. Well, anybody that knows anything about bulls know that for reasons unknown, red makes them mad. You've heard people say they were red, they were so mad. Well, John started flinging that red handkerchief. And that bull took one look at it, and he started to snort. Mm, mm, mm. And he put his head down with his horns sticking out, and he charged as hard as he could to that fence. And he crashed into it. Dale, he had been watching John, and he wasn't holding on to the fence tight. He didn't know he was going to have to ride it out. And when that bull hit that fence, Dale went flying up, 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 up into the air and right into that corral. There he lay on his back. And Harry said, jump, get up, get out of there, get out of there. But when Dale tried to sit up, he had never had such pain. His left leg, oh, his left leg. And then he peeked behind him, and that bull had his head down again, and here he came again. Dale went, help me, somebody help me. I can't get up, my leg's broken. Poor Dale. Harry, he said, I'll. He turned to John. He said, you go find my dad, quick. And Harry picked up a pitchfork. Well, pitchforks are kind of vicious things, but they're not a whole lot to fight off a big full-grown bull. But Harry, he said, I'll get back on the fence and I'll try to poke at him and maybe I can distract him. But poor Dale, he knew that a pitchfork wasn't going to distract that big bull. He could hear the pounding of those bull's feet coming toward him, and he could hear him snorting, oh. And then he thought, I've got to pray to God. And the only thing he could think of to say was, God, help me, stop the bull. And all of a sudden, Harry wasn't making a sound. The boys weren't making any sound, and there was no sound from the bull. Dale had closed his eyes because he didn't want to see that bull trample him. But then he turned his head around, and that bull was as peacefully as could be, walking the other way. Dale couldn't believe it. The only thing that could have happened was that God, who makes bulls, had told him, go the other way. And unlike us humans, the animals generally obey God. Well, about that time, Dale had tried to sit up when he saw the bull go the other way, and the pain in his leg was so bad that he fainted. Well, the next thing he remembered, he was waking up in a hospital bed. His mother was sitting beside him with a worried look on her face. And Dale, wow, they had fixed his leg. But of course he was in a huge cast. Mother said, you're okay, Dale. You're okay. And Dale, we've had a miracle. Dale went, a miracle? The miracle of the bull turning around and walking away? Mom said, no, that was a miracle too. But do you know what happened when the bull walked away? Well, on our way to the hospital, I had all Harry and his friends in our car. And Harry said, ma'am, when that bull turned around and walked the other way, I mean, he was in a dead run toward Dale. He stopped right as he was, and he turned around and he casually walked the other way as if there was nothing wrong. And I said, what could have made that bull do that? And ma'am, Dale said, I prayed. God did it. And do you know what Harry said to Dale's mom? Harry said, I want to believe in a God that can do things like that. I do believe. I want to change. And Mom looked at Dale, and Dale went, that is a miracle, a wonderful miracle, Mom. I don't mind so bad having a broken leg if it can make those kind of changes. Boys and girls, couple things. One is you have a God that's always seeing and always hearing and always answering. If you believe in that God, We call ourselves Christians when we believe in God. We need to act and do so other people will want to know about our Jesus too. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye now.